Okay, we're ready to get started. Please join me in welcoming the team from Okanagan College. Judges, please scroll to their green sheet in your judge handbook. Students, I'm going to ask you to state your school name so we can ensure that your audio is working properly. I'm going to start with you, Danielle.
Okanagan College.
Thank you. Suniti?
Okanagan College.
Thank you. Karsten?
Okanagan College.
Great. And Kurjot?
Okanagan College.
Okay. Okanagan College, you may now begin your presentation.
My grandpa was meticulous about his garden. He had all sorts of fancy motorized garden tools and loved to brag to his friends about his perfectly manicured lawn. But one day he was watching the news and found out how detrimental traditional lawns can be for the environment. He was worried about leaving me and my siblings with fresh air and a healthy future.
Unfortunately, it's a common misconception that traditional gardens are good for the environment, and research shows that maintaining a typical lawn tends to be very fossil fuel and water dependent. The majority of gardens create substantially more emissions than they can absorb. But what if we could transform your lawn into a sustainable organic garden? Our solution? Backyard Bites.
Backyard Bites aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by implementing edible landscaping that does not require high volumes of water, chemicals, or a lot of maintenance by providing eco-friendly gardening kits and services.
We promote a people-powered approach to eliminate motorized landscaping tools that are a large contributor to GHG emission. Households will be making an eco-friendly choice by replacing their lawns with sustainable vegetation and will have access to fresh organic produce.
In our pilot, we plan to provide free kits by partnering with local nurseries to receive an assortment of 4 to 5 edible and visually appealing seedlings. Our kits include basic hand tools and access to our online learning center, where participants can view instructional videos on how to care for their edible landscape.
We aim to provide awareness and to communicate how households can implement in-home strategies to be more sustainable. Enactus volunteers will provide consultation if needed to educate interested parties about the benefits of implementing an organic edible landscape.
This project has limited financial risk, opportunities to scale, and the ability to generate a profit. Our next phase is to launch our project with a seed investment from our Enactus OC team. The startup kits will cost us approximately $30 each, and our goal is to reach 100 customers in our pilot year, costing us $3,000 for the kits and $500 for startup costs.
In year 2, we will launch our social enterprise by generating revenue from 2 streams: people-powered gardenscaping and Garden on Wheels boxes. The revenue will allow us to provide free edible landscaping kits to low-income households and also provide paid employment for at-risk youth. The kits will be provided to households who can afford them at a price of $45 per kit.
I changed my grandpa's mindset on landscaping, and grandma loves their fresh organic produce.
Your
Backyard
presentation
Bites.
time has expired. It is now time for the question and answer period. Judges, please submit your questions through the chat function at the bottom of your screen. Click on chat and use the drop-down to ensure you send your questions directly to me, moderator Amy Kenyon. I'll just wait for those questions to start coming in and I'll set the timer for 5 minutes. Okay, the first question comes from Fab. Would you need a permit for that? For example, in the city of Toronto, you need the city's permission to change your yard from lawn to a natural garden.
This project will be working directly with our horticulture department from Okanagan College, who already implements a similar program on all 4 of our campuses, which have 75% green space with native species plants that use natural irrigation. And so it's quite an easy process to work with our partners to transfer this over to households in our community.
Great, the next question comes from Kuds and I. How did you come up with the idea?
We actually came up with the idea because we've had family members who, like we were saying in the speech, who really wanted to have that lawn, right? That green social status, you brag about it kind of lawn. And we're really just wanting to change this perception and raise awareness about how much water these lawns consume and how much goes into when we use motorized power tools to maintain these landscapes, the greenhouse gas emissions that are emitted, it's just astounding. So we're just wanting to change that mindset.
That's great. The next question from
Also,
Ryan.
to add on to Danielle,
Go ahead.
the focus on also to add on to Danielle, the focus on educating and fostering a holistic approach of environmental sustainability is the key. Our kids will introduce individuals to a lifestyle, and they can gain expertise through exploring the lessons and videos offered by our online learning center.
Great. And the next question comes from Ryan. How many prospective customers did you talk to before coming up with the idea?
Our first step is to research our community to find out the leading cause preventing people from implementing a sustainable garden. We will send out surveys that to our target demographic that will help us focus on addressing these concerns consumers have. The next step is to establish partnership and connecting out hydrocultural students with local nurseries to design the optimal garden kit.
Great. The next question comes from James. What would the soil and water requirements be like for a vegetable and fruit garden compared to grass?
So looking at our region, according to the Okanagan Basin Water Board, 24% of all water used in the Okanagan region is actually used in household lawns and gardens. And researchers have found that maintaining these lawns is extremely fossil fuel dependent. So this trend towards perfectly manicured, high maintenance lawns is really harming our environment. So what we do is we promote a people-powered approach, eliminating the need for these motorized landscaping tools that are large contributors to emissions. And when you grow your own crops, you actually save 2 kilograms of greenhouse gas emissions relative to buying them in the supermarket.
Great. Next question from Pamela. Have you already discussed or secured partnerships with local nurseries for your distribution plan?
We have not, and that is the first step. We have a 1-month plan to roll out our partnership ideas and to connect our horticulture department with these local nurseries. They've already worked together, but we want to bring them our idea of developing these garden kits and then buying them to implement in our households in the community.
That's great. Next question from Ryan. How many potential solutions did you come up with before landing on your final Backyard Bites solution?
The Backyard Bites solution was, I guess, one of our first main ideas. We identified the problem, especially with our decreasing water levels here in the Okanagan and less snowpack. We were looking for ways that we can have an environmental impact, and landing on these traditional landscapes of these big green lush lawns, we saw the issue, and brainstorming with our team and looking at our sustainability operations that the college maintains, we landed on Backyard Bites by building these sustainable gardens and implementing these ideas in people's minds. We're taking the first step towards a better future.
Fantastic. Just waiting to see if we get any more questions before we wrap up. Yep, Pamela is asking, is this suitable for all backyards with various sunlight, etc.?
Right now, it is for most of the households in Okanagan. It is suitable for, like, you only need to remove the grass. However, we in our year 2, we also plan to provide with a movable garden. So that's pretty much garden on wheels. That's where you can roll your garden out in the morning and take it in.
Your time has expired. Judges, please join me in congratulating the team from Okanagan College. Judges, we have a couple of minutes as we bring in the next team. Please use this time to complete your green sheet and we'll get started momentarily. Students, you may now leave the meeting. Please join me in welcoming the team from St. Mary's University. Judges, please scroll to their green sheet in your judge handbooks. And students, please state your school name so we can ensure your audio is working properly. Irvi, do you want to start us off?
St. Mary's University.
Thank you. Amir?
St. Mary's University.
I'm losing the last person. There's another. Oh, no, there you are. Monique, there you are.
Hello, St. Mary's University.
Great, thank you. St. Mary's University, you may now begin your presentation.
Food today is being wasted more than ever before. Every year, Canadians waste up to 2.94 million tons of food, which is worth more than $10 billion. Up to 61% of that food being wasted is within households itself. This is not only problematic in terms of our environmental impact, but it can also be a burden on those who are on a tight budget. With household food waste numbers increasing continuously, clearly our traditional methods of manually writing down what we have and what we buy is not enough.
Did you ever wonder how great it would be if there was some sort of app to keep track of the food that you have and how much you spent on it? Nowadays, people go to grocery stores with their phones all the time, and our app, Fridjo, is a perfect companion. Our app is innovative. It's like having a virtual fridge on your phone, and it will remind you when the food is about to expire. In addition to that, it will let you know of the ways that you can store your food to ensure it lasts longer. This will not only save you the food, but it will also save you money.
Fridjo would also generate recipes for food that is available based on the user's specific dietary needs based on what's left over from the pantry. So it will also be providing nutritional support and catering to the specific needs of the consumer. Not only that, it will create meaningful partnerships with grocery stores, local farmers, as well as community food banks. Partnerships with grocery stores would also allow individuals to have their purchase history automatically downloaded onto the app rather than individually inputting each item into the app. Fridjo would also educate users in the terms of their carbon as well as water footprints.
With over 5 years worth of experience in handling food waste reduction and members of a computer science team, we've developed applications involving this issue in the past. So our team is more than ready to bring this into reality. Our budget consists of $1,200 for app development, $200 for maintaining the application, and $100 for research and development. And in order to make our business model sustainable, the application will be free for all users with all the great features for the first month. Afterwards, the users would need to subscribe using in-app purchases in order to access premium features.
So if even 1% of Canada would adopt our Fridjo app within their homes, we would save almost 66 million pounds of food from being wasted every year. This is equivalent to 125 million pounds of CO2 and 3.9 billion liters of water from being wasted. Fridjo will not only reinvent the way people view waste, but it will also make them part of the solution. Thank you.
Your presentation time has expired. It is now time for the question and answer period. Judges, please submit your questions through the chat function at the bottom of your screen. Click on chat and use the drop-down to ensure you send your questions directly to me, moderator Amy Kenyon. So we'll just wait for the first questions to come through. Okay, first question comes from Kudzanai. She says, why is this new?
Absolutely. So there are other apps out there that track grocery lists as well as provide recipes. However, our app will be the first one to combine both of this as well as go even further to track food's expiry date. So it's going to be saving a lot of users a lot of food waste, as well. It will be tracking the ecological footprints as well.
Great. Next question comes from Ryan. How many prospective customers did you talk to before coming up with this idea?
So we have had done our research done before. So we did send out surveys using our currently existing Square Roots model. So we were able to reach out to different community members who were managing different locations and notify them that we had a survey going out for a new project that we wanted to do. They provided those to the local customers who were coming in to pick up bundles, and surprisingly received a 55% feedback of individuals saying that they completely forget what they have at the back of their fridges or what's remaining in their pantry and never really know when their produce is going bad. Based on that, we decided to go ahead with this app.
Next, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So I'm seeing the question here, how is it different from HelloFresh? So it's different in that it's going to allow the users opportunity to have access to promotions of different food sales. There will be the opportunity to partner with different grocery stores, as well as tracking their food waste. So it's going well beyond any of the other apps that were previously designed, and it's encompassing all of these features in one.
In addition to that, food services like HelloFresh, they bring you the ingredients and you cook your own food. But for us, you can order through our partners in Square Roots and stuff. But the main thing here is to log the food that you have and create recipes based on what you have on your fridge.
In addition to that, it would also give the users access to local food banks. So there's opportunities for them to have even more access to more affordable food, therefore reducing food waste even more.
Great. The next question comes from Kuds and I. How about people that have no access to the app? How would you deal with that?
So as of the moment, as we know, this is an application-based permit, so it's on your mobile phone. But just having word of mouth being spread, we would be able to log into different people and be able to share. So if there's one person in the household that has a mobile phone, they would be able to use that. It is not a requirement that every individual in the household should have the application. So it could start off as one person, and that way we would look at reducing it less. But in the future, as we go ahead with the app, we would come up with different solutions as to how people could use the application, even if they just have a desktop with them.
In addition,
Right.
in addition to that, we do have a Square Roots program. So we already have a market that we can access people. So we do have that market there that we do have already people coming to us for bundles of fresh food. So we have that opportunity there to outreach to that market and then advance their opportunity to save and their utility of this app.
Great. Next question comes from Pamela. How will you reach people or promote this product?
Could you please repeat that?
Yeah.
question?
How will you reach people or promote the product?
Okay,
Oh,
so you go ahead.
So this one, basically, we're first going to start off with our Square Roots program. Due to us having almost reached our 54,000 people within last year itself, that is a big market to tap into. Our community managers would be trained as to how the application works and can provide training to every other person who comes to buy the local groceries. And in the future, as we progress, we would look at creating meaningful partnerships through which we could potentially work on having an app or a platform that works between our local grocery stores and with our app to go ahead and have reach more people.
In addition to that, in order to scale it across the country, it's just a matter of securing more partnerships across Canada.
Great. Taxiel asks, since privacy is a concern these days, would this stop people from using the app?
No, it's not going to stop people from using the app, just because we need to ensure that privacy is our biggest motto to follow. Not everyone feels secure using an app if you know that there's a leak of data. So data privacy is going to be our biggest component for the application, and it's going to be encoded in a way that no one can actually get into the database and break through it.
Your time has expired. Judges, please join me in congratulating the team from St. Mary's University. Judges, we have a couple of minutes as we bring in the next team, so please use this time to complete the green sheet, and we'll get started momentarily. Students, you may now leave the meeting. Please join me in welcoming the team from Fleming College. Judges, please scroll to their green sheet in your judge handbook. Students, please state your school name so we can ensure your audio is working properly. Sarah.
Fleming College.
Thank you. Fleming College, you may now begin your presentation.
Single-use plastic is one of the highest sources of waste in landfills. In 2018, Canadian landfills received 27 million tons of plastic. According to the Harvard Business Review, 65% of people want to buy from sustainable brands. That's where Chaff Wrap comes in. We will be able to reduce household waste by targeting men and women ages 18 to 60 to eliminate single-use plastic. It is an innovative product. Using corn husks to store food is a new concept commercially. We will be taking advantage of an emerging solution. Our competitors use materials such as silicone and beeswax to create an alternative to plastic food wrap. Our product is unique in the fact that it can be eaten after use. We will thrive through collaboration by creating partnerships with local farmers and businesses who accumulate food waste. All of our components will be ethically sourced. We can use pine resin as a sealant. Pine resin has antimicrobial, antibacterial, and antifungal properties and has been used in many ways for hundreds of years. We will reach our audience through social media and e-commerce. Taking advantage of targeting algorithms, hashtags, and the convenience of online shopping will make it easy to reach our audience. We will lift others up through community enrichment by creating job opportunities for local Indigenous women and youth. Our impact will be measured through diverted waste and corn husks, profit, partnerships, and employment. We estimate our startup cost to be $10,000. This includes securing a facility, equipment procurement, and other materials needed to support the business. Our forecasts predict a profit of $2,500 in the first year with a return on investment in 4 years. Our product selling price will be competitive at $25 for a set of 3 wraps in various sizes, because now more than ever, we need efficient, sustainable alternatives that reduce waste and encourage a holistic point of view. Thank you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Your presentation has expired. It is now time for the question and answer period. Judges, please submit your questions through the chat function at the bottom of your screen. Click on chat and use the drop-down to ensure you send your questions directly to me, moderator Amy Kenyon. We'll just wait for the first question to come through. Here we go. First one's from Pamela. Have you sourced the products, farmers, etc.?
So within our Peterborough County area, we have over 1,000 farmers, and that is over 120,000 acres of farming. We'll also be able to reach out to the Peterborough Regional Farmers Network. It's a farmer-led nonprofit that aims to support and empower farmers within the local area.
Great. I'll just wait. Oh, another question from Fab. Are there opportunities to offer this product at a cheaper rate to target low-income families?
Absolutely. We could also do kind of like the, I don't know if you've heard about the YWCA. They do produce boxes and they have a price range compared to how much you can afford, say from like $6 to $10 for a small box. And then they have a larger box as well. And that could be something that we could also implement.
Great. Next question from James. Could you describe what this product would look like or an example of what its #1 use would be?
Absolutely. So as you can see on the screen, I've found actually, I think it's a tamale, and that's kind of what we're going for, is that kind of picture, and using the pine resin to seal it, to keep it safe. So when you put it in the fridge or you have it on the counter, that you don't, it's safe. The food inside is going to be stored and be able to eat after.
Great. Next question from Ryan. You mentioned that this has been used for hundreds of years. How have corn husks been used to store food in the past?
Okay, so the pine resin was what I was talking about. That's been used for hundreds of years, but excuse me, corn husks have been used, just not in a sanitary way in the past. Some cultures, they use them to wrap with banana leaves. Other cultures have used them to wrap like their meats and store them like that. But it's never been something that with the pine resin would be antifungal, antimicrobial, antibacterial.
Great. Next question from Takshil. How is this different from other sustainable wraps which can be reused?
Absolutely. So our difference is you can eat it. It's going to be ethically sourced. It's going to be able to be food safe, and you don't even have to unwrap your food. You could have like something inside it and just take it out of the microwave and eat the whole thing and don't have to put anything in the waste.
James asks, have you tested this idea out with some prospective customers?
We have not. This is brand new prototype phase. I'm excited to try it out. I'm actually personally excited to try eating it myself.
Next question comes from Pamela. Have you done testing and gotten feedback? Were there any changes you had to make?
So through our research, we found that, like I said, a lot of people, they look for the sustainable brands, especially now more than ever. And people are going to be excited about this because not only can they store their food, but they can eat it. And there is no waste whatsoever. I mean, unless you're full, but then you can compost it because it's completely compostable.
Great. Ryan asks, have you talked to any customers about this idea?
So we haven't talked to anyone yet. I'm excited to. This is, like I said, it's very, very, very brand new. But there are people out there that are looking for alternatives to plastic use and who want to have a zero waste lifestyle. And those are the people that we're going to approach and that they're going to be excited about.
Great. Just waiting for some more questions to come through.
Sure.
Okay, James asks, what's the supply like of pine resin?
Oh, yes. So you can actually store it. It comes solid. So you can store it in an airtight container up to a year. And then you just put it over the heat in a pot and you boil it and you make it liquid again. And you're able to apply it like a glue. Same with corn husks. They can last up to a year or two, as long as you store them in a dry area.
Great. Ryan asks, what other potential solutions did you think about before you came up with the Chaff Wrap?
That's a good one. So I have a lot of ideas and most of them come to me in the night and I'm just random. My ex-president, she knows all about this and just they pop into my head because, we use beeswax with fabric to wrap the food in, but you can't eat it. And then, we use silicone and you don't want to eat that as well. So there was some way to completely eliminate the waste.
Expired.
Thank
Judges,
you.
Please join me in congratulating the team from Fleming College. Students, you may now leave the meeting.
Thank you so much.
Judges, we now have a scheduled break. I'm going to say 5 minutes. So we're going to come back at 11:26 Eastern when we'll begin the final 3 presentations. Please join me in welcoming the team from the University of Ottawa. Judges, please scroll to their green sheet in your judge handbook. Students, please state your school name so we can check your audio is working properly. Catherine?
University of Ottawa.
Thank you. University of Ottawa, you may now begin your presentation.
Picture this. You're a busy student with only 15 minutes to eat lunch. Your only options are unhealthy food packaged in single-use plastic. If plastic production stays on its current trajectory, by 2030, greenhouse gas emissions from plastic could reach 1.34 billion tons per year. We got to the root of the problem, and that's why we created the Urban Farm. Our main goal is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by selling fresh and tasty meals made from food waste in conveniently located vending machines in university residences. The Urban Farm leads people to take action against climate change through its ability to do what few other green initiatives can, making environmental sustainability accessible and convenient. Our target audience are university students living in residence buildings on campus. We found that they lack the time and funds to eat and live sustainably. We plan on placing machines in the lobby of residential buildings and across campus so students can conveniently purchase fresh and tasty meals at an affordable price. Here's how it works. Simply visit one of our machines and choose a fresh meal from our wide selection. In the machine, you'll find healthy salads, snacks, sandwiches, and desserts. You'll receive the meal in a reusable container that can be returned to be properly sanitized and refilled with fresh meals every day. We have developed relationships with local farmers that are interested in tackling food waste in collaboration with our project. In a survey distributed to students at Ottawa, almost all said they were seeking healthier meal choices and that environmentally friendly foods were important for them. After communicating with a liaison officer affiliated with the food services, we have piqued their interest in having our project on campus. We are currently finalizing research into the packaging, kitchen space, recipe development, and vending machine. The income of the Urban Farm will be realized from the sale of our meals and the vending machine. We estimate a 15% profit margin for the first year of operations and a 30% profit margin for the following years. Our anticipated next steps are varied. We want to identify the most appropriate location with high foot traffic, fund our business to buy the vending machine, and create valuable partnerships with a community kitchen. Our goal launch date is winter 2022, when all has hopefully returned to normal. In over 5 years, the urban farm will avoid 12.6 tons of CO2 and will conserve over 175,000 liters of water. The urban farm's idea is simple. It provides sustainable, healthy to-go meals straight from a vending machine for university students. This way, there is no wait, no waste, and delicious food right in your mouth. Thank you.
Your presentation time has expired. It is now time for the question and answer period. Judges, please submit your questions through the chat function at the bottom of your screen. Click on chat directly to me. Okay, the first question comes from Fab. Could this be expanded to office buildings?
That's a great question. So yes, the answer is totally. So the first phase is really designed for university students because we saw a need, especially for their budget and their time. But of course, for government buildings in Ottawa, there's so many options for airports, for train stations too. This could be scalable everywhere in Canada, in North America, and if we're hopeful too, in the world.
Great. Next question comes from Kutsanai. What are your margins based on?
Yes. So actually, we took into consideration the cost of the location of a space, the cost of employees, also the cost of the vending machine. That's one of our biggest costs. The cost of the products that we use to, and the legal aspects. So all of the permits, the marketing department, and that's an overall of the costs. And the revenues, like I said, are generated from the sale of our products in the machine, but there's actually other source of revenues that we could potentially exploit in future months. But eventually, maybe we want to add some source of revenues, like adding some publicity on the machine or adding a section for local products, like a store to promote small businesses. So those are all options that we are considering right now.
Great. Next question is from Pamela. Does the food spoil? Is this a concern or a risk?
Yes, so quality is one of our main values. We really want to make sure, especially using food waste and also returning containers. You may ask, how are you going to do this for food and legal and safety reasons? Actually, there's two compartments to the machine. So there's the food and you buy your meal section, and there's also the return section. So both sections are completely separate and the food are not touching each other in any way, shape, or form. Also, for the use of food waste, when I'm talking about food waste, I'm not talking about rotten fruits or vegetables. It's really fruits that maybe have not the same color, they're too big, they're too small, but they're still really great. They're still really tasty and really fresh. So there's no concern about this. The machine is really technologically up to date. So we have a tracking in real time of the inventory. So that's a great thing. We can manage, depending on the days, we can know if there's going to be a lot of people or not and plan in consideration so there's no food waste.
Great. James asks, are the meals packaged in such a way to reduce spoilage, and how would this impact the waste factor?
Yes, totally. So we'll plan our portions according to what's best for the students and according to healthy regulations. So the portions will be made so that there's less food waste, of course.
Fab asks, how affordable would this be for the average student?
Yes, so for full meal, we plan of starting of selling about $9 for a meal. So for example, a salad and a drink or something like this. So this is the total price. Depending, we add a value for sustainability and also for a convenience. So it's simple to go to the machine. It takes 2 minutes, you get your lunch. Especially when you go in another restaurant or another food chain on campus, often it takes a lot of time, especially since students all eat on the same time during lunch hour. It's incredible. It takes 30 minutes just to get a sandwich and it costs you $15. So this is the added value.
Great. Ryan asks, how many students did you survey?
Around 100, more than 100 students, and about 75% of them were not satisfied with food options on campus.
Great. Kutsunai asks, what makes this product different from the other options out there?
Yeah, so automated retail is the future. You don't need an employee on place. It takes a small space too, and it's really quick. It's quick and it's easy to pay for the user. It's quick and easy to receive your meal, and it doesn't take a lot of time. And also, it's there always. There's no opening or closing hours. If someone arrives at campus and at 6 o'clock in the morning, there's someone there, and you can buy your meal, even if in a traditional store there would be no employee and the store would be closed.
Great. Next question from James. Have you tested the concept with prospective customers?
So right now we're really at the ideation phase. So we are trying to get funding to
Your time has expired. Judges, please join me in congratulating the team from the University of Ottawa. Judges, we have a couple of minutes as we bring in the next team. Please use this time to complete your green sheet and we'll get started momentarily. Catherine, you may now leave the meeting. Please join me in welcoming the team from Lakehead University. Judges, please scroll to their green sheet in your judge handbook. Students, please state your school name so we can ensure your audio is working properly. Marcella, do you want to start us off?
Lakehead University.
Thank you. Reed?
Lakehead University.
Thank you. Lisa?
Lakehead University.
Great. Aiden?
Lakehead University.
Thank you. And James?
Lakehead University.
Fantastic. Lakehead University, you may now begin your presentation.
Could you guess where 25% of Canadian greenhouse gas emissions come from? The vast majority of fruits and vegetables are imported into Canada, resulting in 825,000 tons of CO2 emitted by transportation and production methods every year. Meanwhile, 81% of the Canadian population is urban and growing, and yet only 15% of the world's food is grown in an urban setting. This represents massively untapped potential.
A growing urban population means urban-friendly, sustainable methods of growing food must be developed. We have an impactful way to introduce youth and their families to the concepts of sustainable and urban agriculture, as outlined in existing programs by Sustain Ontario. We do this by allowing them to interact with the process within the comfort of their own home, generating educational, economic, nutritional, and mental health benefits, all while demonstrating a real impact on GHG emissions.
Our approach in targeting youth through collaboration with school programming allows us to simultaneously educate young minds for long-term sustainable impact, as well as their families at home.
iCropped is a modular solution to kickstarting Canada's urban agriculture. The project is intended to encourage an eco-friendly mentality in the local youth through an all-in-one package that allow urban households to cultivate vegetables and spices in their own homes with little to no effort.
The iCropped pre-assembled kit will contain a miniature greenhouse that can be mounted in a variety of ways. The kit includes enriched soil, planted seeds, natural fertilizer, and an optional UV lamp. With step-by-step instructions as well as added educational content, this all-inclusive package creates a fun and interactive method to drive young Canadians towards a more sustainable agricultural future with a yummy reward.
Modular structures offer different types of crops, while how-to guides further simplify the process and explore the potential of larger-scale urban agriculture. A subscription-based approach would allow for seeds to be sent to households on a quarterly basis relevant to the produce being grown, with annual replacement of soils.
We estimate the initial cost of development of the actual greenhouse structure and all of its contents, in addition to marketing and distribution logistics, to be $5,000. It take about 1 year to implement, seeing results within 3 to 6 months.
We will be able to measure success by tracking the number of kits distributed and subscriptions repurchased. This will make it easier for us to calculate impacts by multiplying an estimated amount of greenhouse gas avoided per kit, resulting in a cumulative CO2 equivalent.
In addition, water conserved, food, and commercial waste diverted and their related dollar amount will reflect the futures of iCrop's impact. We can even measure the amount saved per household.
Your presentation time has expired. It is now time for the question and answer period. Judges, please submit your questions through the chat function at the bottom of your screen. Click on chat and use the drop-down to ensure you send your questions directly to me, moderator Amy Kenyon. We'll just wait for the first questions to come through before I start the timer. Okay, the first question comes from James. How much will these cost?
Cost of these are actually, the initial offering is going to be free, and that'll be part of the $5,000 that I suggested. So it'll be given free to students at first, and then the subscription will be working in the cost of travel and delivery of the kits.
Yeah, as they have different choices to like choose from different crops. We're thinking it depends on like how expensive it is for the specific crop to be planted in the greenhouse, and so that we have a range about like $30 to $40 or $50 more or less per subscription.
Great. The next question comes from Ryan. How many customers did you talk to about your idea?
So our initial thought with this idea, we wanted to target students. As being students ourselves, we thought back to our own experiences and bringing in home plants to grow food in our own homes. And so we consulted with students like ourselves and our friends in order to find the best method to deliver this product.
And just further to that, TechShield asks, have you surveyed households to explore their needs?
No, the goal would be in the future to send surveys with the seeds that we send on a quarterly basis in order to see if it's working, have people been learning, is it useful, and with that, improve along the way.
We would also use social media to connect with people and receive their feedback.
Great. Next question comes from Fab. Would there be a sign up to decide who would receive the free kits? A lot of times people receive these items, but it's tossed away or forgotten.
So all the kits will be registered for each student through the educational programs that we'll be using. We'll be working directly with schools, and then they can, like we were saying, we'll be sort of attaching it to a social media sign up so they can post and sort of show their progress.
Great. Hermine asks, how large are these units and what are they made of?
So the units are going to be about 9 by 16 square, and then probably about 9 inches high. And then they will be made of green materials. The soil itself will be enriched, and we'll be doing some research to make sure of that. And so the materials will act as a greenhouse.
Great. Ryan asks, was this your first idea or did you have other ideas before you landed on this one?
We had a couple ideas, but this is the one that we wanted to pursue. It was more so how we wanted to deliver this product to ensure the best possible method. So we spent more time on figuring out how to deliver this product.
Great. James asks, how much food or spices do you estimate would be generated from a single tray?
That is still something we are going to do a lot of research with. Been talking with some farmers, and we're going to be working with Lakehead Greenhouse Complex to find out exactly how much will be.
Yeah, because it depends on the size of the crop and how much space do it needs to like grow, and so yeah.
I would like to add, since we have a modular design, if somebody just wants to grow some cilantro or mint to add to their meals, that's fine. They can just have 1 or 2 greenhouses. But if somebody would like to expand and have a larger urban garden in their house, we'll provide the options so somebody could have, a dozen or more greenhouses.
Great. Taxiel asks, would this only work for households that have a place in their backyard, or do you have a plan to introduce a version of it for condo or apartment owners?
Yes, this is made purposely so that it can be maneuvered easily and anyone can use it. In terms of, like, you can see in the image itself, it can be made wide or it can be made long, purposely so condos could have it.
Yeah, as we based our research on
Your time has
universities.
expired. Judges, please join me in congratulating the team from Lakehead University. Judges, we have a couple of minutes as we bring in the next team. Please use this time to complete your green sheets, and we'll get started momentarily. Students, you may now leave the meeting. Please join me in welcoming the team from Wilfrid Laurier University. Judges, please scroll to their green sheet in your judge handbook. Students, please state your school name so we can ensure your audio is working properly. Kushi, do you want to start us off?
Wilfrid Laurier University.
Great, thank you. Miles?
Wilfrid Laurier University.
Thank you. Rona?
Wilfrid Laurier University.
Thank you. Sanjot?
Wilfrid Laurier University.
Thank you. And Vincent?
Wilfrid Laurier University.
Perfect. Wilfrid Laurier University, you may now begin your presentation.
Currently, 141 million metric tons of plastic packaging is thrown out every year worldwide. With global waste production exponentially increasing on an annual basis, the worst impacts on the environment are yet to come and could be irreversible by 2030. When you think about single-use plastic waste, straws, water bottles, and shampoo bottles come to mind. But about 23 million tons of plastic waste is attributed to the coffee industry. Many Canadian households are looking for sustainable alternatives, but very few options exist to reduce the waste from your morning cup of coffee. This is why we created Coffee Candy.
Coffee Candy is an affordable, waste-free, biodegradable soft gel capsule containing dehydrated coffee flavorings such as honey, agave syrup, caramel, and vanilla. Consumers can simply drop a capsule into their coffee, stir, and the flavors will dissolve, leaving you with a delicious cup of coffee. Our product replaces the large quantities of syrup bottles that are used by households that are not properly recycled and end up in our landfills. Our impact can be measured simply by looking at every biodegradable box of coffee candy that will eliminate the need for one plastic bottle of syrup. For every 10,000 boxes, we'll be preventing 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide emissions and hundreds of kilograms of plastic from entering our environment.
Our primary target audience is Generation Z and Millennials, who frequently consume coffee and are looking for sustainable alternatives. We will reach this target audience through our social media and online website and expand into retail channels once we gain traction in the market. To implement our product, we will be doing thorough consumer testing to ensure high-quality flavors and a good user experience. We will be sourcing our flavorings from sustainable suppliers and using a manual encapsulation process to produce our product in the initial stages.
To bring Coffee Candy into the market, our initial budget will be about $1,500. This will cover the cost to complete our testing and production of the capsules, as well as our initial marketing through online ads. We plan to sell boxes of 70 capsules for $7, which is competitively priced in comparison to the average bottle of syrup.
With the mission to empower households to be more environmentally sustainable, we see Coffee Candy as just the beginning. To scale, we look to partner with companies such as Nespresso and Keurig to offer branded syrup capsules. And once we have proven the consumer case for our product, we will expand into the coffee shops to increase our positive environmental impact, eliminating the need for a further 7.5 million ton bottles of plastic syrup every year in Canada alone.
Robert Swan once said, "The greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it." Creating a more sustainable world will be the greatest challenge for a generation, and we're choosing to take action now. With the creation of Coffee Candy, you'll be able to wake up every morning to a greener world, one capsule at a time. Thank you for listening.
Your presentation time has expired. It is now time for the question and answer period. Judges, please submit your questions through the chat function at the bottom of your screen. Click on chat and use the drop-down to ensure you send your questions directly to me, Amy Kenyon, moderator. Okay, the first question's already coming through. The first one is from James. How would you compare this to sugar cubes?
So sugar cubes are basically sugar, right? However, our product is not a sweetener. We use concentrated powders sourced in our California stuff. So they might have powders like caramel or like strawberry. So it's actually a flavor concentrate rather than a sweetener. So that's how our product difference from that.
Great. Next question comes from Fab. How affordable is this compared with existing products?
Sorry about that. I can take this one. So we've looked at a number of different products that are already in the market, including the average price for syrup bottles, pardon me. So we plan to sell a box of 70 capsules for $7 as opposed to what is already in the market, which is actually in fact cheaper and more sustainable, which was our original mission, is to create a product that reduces the cost barriers of using sustainable products and creating an overall idea of a sustainable cup of coffee in the morning.
Great. The next question comes from Pamela. Can you explain in more detail the syrup you are replacing? Do you have statistics on the consumption of these?
I'd love to take this question. Basically, every household usually runs through one bottle of syrup about every 2 weeks. And the main syrup flavors which we'll be replacing is vanilla, caramel, and strawberry-based syrups.
Great. The next question comes from Kudsanai. She says, what was your sample size for testing?
So we plan to do 70 capsules in a box. At first, we actually tried out a larger scale at 1,000 capsules per box. However, this was for like an industrial size, like a wholesale thing. But then we scaled down and now we're only testing around 70 capsules per box, which is similar to a standard syrup bottle, which is around 750 milliliters and around like 35 drinks for around like 20 milliliters per like serving. But we're doing around 2 capsules per serving. So that's why our samples size is around 70 capsules per box.
Okay, the next question comes from James. How would these coffee candies be packaged on the grocery store shelves?
I can take the question. So essentially our packaging is designed as biodegradable as well as recyclable. So the box that these capsules will come in are fully recyclable. They're paper boxes. And within it, it's lined within rice paper to protect the actual product, which is biodegradable. So in terms of looking, just to give you a visualization for within a grocery store, you can kind of think of it as a small recyclable box with a lining within it.
Great. Next question from Ryan. What will be your first test with customers?
I can take this one. So a first test would probably just to see like how customers like enjoy how they feel about a product. So we would probably try and contact some local coffee shops and then like offer samples for their customers. And then when they can try it, they can see how it compares to like their normal coffee, regular coffee. And then this would kind of give us like an idea of the demand for our product.
Great. Next question comes from Kudsanai. Since the price of coffee is already high for serious coffee drinkers, is this not a deterrent?
I can take this one. So in terms of, we've considered which people we would like to look at when we're selling our product, but in terms of people who are serious coffee drinkers and who are someone who is more into more high-end coffees, in fact, this would not be a deterrent because in fact, we've made it affordable on purpose. So in terms of if you're looking to put creamers or any sort of additives to your coffee, we've in fact lower your costs rather than increase them because we want to create something that, yeah, is affordable, but is also creating impact. And that's the reason why we created this product.
Great. Next question from Takshil. Do you plan to reach out to coffee consumers who don't use syrup? And how would you do that?
I can take this question. So we're actually using online ads, which is to, let's say you want to do like Facebook ads or Instagram ads, right? And so from there, you can select your target consumer. So rather than focusing on people who specifically use syrup, we want to expand to just coffee drinkers in general and can like increase and introduce them to our new, like a new market almost. So we plan to reach like people who already drink coffee and make them into syrup drinkers.
Your time has expired. Judges, please join me in congratulating the team from Wilfrid Laurier University, our final team for the day. Students, you may now leave the meeting.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It was a pleasure speaking with you, Ollie.
Judges, that was our final presentation of the day. Please complete your final individual team evaluation form and scroll to the cumulative evaluation form where you will see your assessments have been transferred. Use these assessments as a guide to rank the teams, with one being your first choice. There is a link on your yellow cumulative evaluation form, which we'll also share in the chat, where you can submit your rankings. This link will take you to a survey to submit your rankings, but will not automatically submit your handbook back to me. After you have submitted your final rankings via the survey, you will need to save the PDF with your comments and send it back to me by the end of day today. We ask that you submit your rankings no later than 12:30, so you've got about 29 minutes, so that we can finalize the results for tomorrow's announcement. If you would like to take some more time finalizing your comments to the teams in your handbook, that's no problem. Just have that back to me by the end of day today. If you have any questions, please just unmute yourself, ask them, or write them in the chat. I'll be here until the last one of you leaves, so no problems. And before we leave you to your evaluations and rankings, I just want to say thank you once again for joining us today. We really hope you enjoyed hearing our students' ideas today.